This episode of the Out of Spec podcast was brought to you by Magna. Magna is a leading edge mobility technology company for automakers, and it supplies automotive systems, assemblies, modules, and components to countless brands you've undoubtedly heard of. GM, Ford, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, and so many more. Magna has been a key player behind the scenes for decades, including pioneering some of the first reverse cameras before you had even heard of the concept. They now look to the future with fully autonomous driving systems, ADAS, and mini electric car components for your EV at home. We'd like to thank our sponsors that make shows like this possible. Hey, welcome back to the Out of Spec podcast. I am Jordan Schieffer, your host, joined by Mike Breeling, Ben Spreen, and Forrest Jones is back in the house from his TikTok lair of SpongeBob. For our visual listeners anyways. Let's start right off with some things we've been driving. And I should make a correction from last week because we talked about the GLS, which I've had for, I guess, a week now. And I didn't think it was 23s, but it is 23s. I just didn't realize it because the car is so big.
Yeah.
So took this all around the front range. Actually had a bachelor party, so had 5 guys in it, just all giving opinions. So video should be coming out on that this week, maybe even when this podcast goes up. Should be interesting. But yeah, the little baby 450, not really a baby though, it's 3-row SUV.
Kind of wish you had the 580 though. That's the one.
I know. I was riding around all cool except for the badge on the back. But I really liked it, honestly. I know it's $100,000 and doesn't even have heated rear seats, but I like it.
Wait, that was heated third or second row is omitted, or all?
All. It only has heated front.
For the money, it's optional. Just was not spec'd.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's
for $800.
Yeah, this is the 450. Only the front is heated and cooled standard and heated steering wheel. But and 4-zone climate control, but not 5. I didn't have the 5th zone option either. So just missing a few crucial components. No massaging chairs, which you need. For traffic.
What about the cup holders? That's crucial. Heated and cooled, or?
I don't have those either. Yeah, I have the poor man's Spec.
Shoot. Yeah, the GLS. Poverty Spec. How much was this thing? Like only $90,000?
95. Yep.
Wow. A lot of car for the money.
Yep. It's fine. I don't know. Looks good.
Dude, I actually have a question about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's super interesting that you said you recently had this.
I have it right now. It's in my driveway. That's
funny because I literally have the Lexus LX600 right now, and I just posted my video today, and someone's like, I'd take the GLS the 580, but they don't make it anymore. They only have the 450, and then you have to go all the way up to the Mercedes Maybach 600, which is like 160, and then the Lexus I have is 140.
140?
Whoa! Yeah, it's got the like
those got up
significantly price increase.
Dude, it's the one. It's the one where you can like fully recline in the back, and it's got the massaging and the cooler and the massage in the back and like all that, and the screens and.
Okay. I mean, that's
I'm jealous
cool.
now.
I can't wait to rip one of those up some trails in like 18 years.
Dude, it's not even that good off road. It's horrible. Well, like mechanically, it's capable, but the thing that like stops it is the integrated side steps. Okay, look, that's max ride height. That's like the highest ride height, and you probably have like maybe 9 point something inches of ground clearance. Like it's not really good. And then the front bumper is like integrated into the grille. So like if you really wanted to overland mod this, you can't because the whole front end is like one piece. You can't like just replace the bumper.
Oh, so you'd have to actually like cut the grille.
You'll have to cut it. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to cut it. And
well, that's what a lot of people are already doing with GX 460s, more recent Lexus GXs. So there's already a market who is willing to cut the front bumper in half. So, they'll keep doing it.
True.
Gosh, but on
Is it solid rear
$140,000 car
axle
though.
still?
Yeah, still solid rear axle. It's got a
All
rear
right.
suspension. It's got the crawl control. It doesn't have a rear locker anymore. It's just the center.
Oh, that's
It'll
interesting.
do everything then.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Ours gets over obstacles pretty well with just the center. So did Timon's.
Yeah, it's all about the tires, anyways. But other
True.
than that, I feel like in stock form, though, it's pretty non-capable, to be honest. You really have to buy that, which is 140 as it is, and then immediately throw like $5 to $6 grand worth of stuff at it
and destroy the front end.
Exactly.
That'd be a baller move, though. It's a baller move.
Yeah, but like
load floor is really high up.
It is, dude, and it doesn't have the. Remember how the old ones used to have the bottom part that comes out?
Yeah, Range Rover style.
Yeah, they got rid of that.
What the heck?
Split tailgates. That's the thing. They're
dude,
the best.
they got rid of it. Honestly, what I use it for this week is probably what most people will use it for. I just loaded it up with tons of diapers. And my wife and I just cruised around in it. But like, I would have taken it off road, but it just, I don't even like video already doesn't do it justice, and this thing couldn't go over like the same obstacles I would have taken like a Land Cruiser, for example.
Yeah.
So
it's got a lot lower overhang in the front too. Yeah,
so I was like, man, like it is capable. It's just you got to do some work to it. Like it's got all the hardware. It's just a really strange thing. It's like I don't know. It's like being able to lift like 400 pounds, but you're at a gym where they don't have anything over 50-pound weights. It's just like
it's like being an Olympic sprinter but in high heels.
Yes, dude. You're just automatically just neutered.
Wow.
I mean, Lexus has always been the on-road one, so I guess that makes sense. But they're just not. They're just denying us the actual off-road Land Cruiser. Which the rest of the world's getting.
That's the thing. It's like it's not even like you can be like, oh well, the Lexus is the luxury one. I'll just go with the Land Cruiser. Like you don't even have that option anymore.
Yeah, now it's just I guess I get the luxury one.
Wow.
But the whole point of me saying that is the question was someone commented on my TikTok video and they're like, I would take the GLS over the LX600. So would you guys take that over the LX?
For that price, yes. If I'm spending that much money, I want it to be a BM or a Mercedes maxed out.
No, I'd still take the LX. Ben and I were just talking about the LX before we came on the podcast.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I really want to drive one.
I would take the LX simply because let's just say I have $140,000 lying around to throw at a car. Mm-hmm. I have that extra $5 to cut the bumpers in half and steal all the bumpers and rock sliders and then just have fun.
That's true.
That's why. In my hypothetical situation, my money is hypothetical. So what does it matter?
That's true. So since we're talking hypothetical, do you think that person has a hypothetical $20,000 leeway to get a base model Maybach GLS or Mercedes Maybach GLS?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So then what would you get?
It's like, yeah, do you get the...
I'm not a Benz kind of guy. I don't really like Mercedes in general.
That's fair. I guess
they're great cars. They just they're not my vibe, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess you would just go get a Range Rover Autobiography, personally.
Yeah.
That would be my $150,000 SUV of choice.
That's true. The new Range Rover is nice.
I don't love MBUX. I feel like that's not quite luxury feeling to me. Like Range Rover's infotainment is much better looking. Mm-hmm. I guess action aside, but it looks better. But I will say this one, so it's power folding second and third rows. The right seat on the third row kept not working. The transmission was giving me some issues a couple times. Just quirks on a brand new Mercedes, which may have been romped on a lot by other journalists. So it's not exactly like everyone's example, but it wasn't super reliable even for me during 1 week, but still looked cool. Rode great.
My only issue with MBUX, it's a great system, but it reminds me of Windows Vista Media Center, which is like a very niche reference, but it's got that glassy kind of way. Everything slides around.
Everything is like they're obsessed with transparency, and I don't know, it just doesn't seem very. There's way too many gradients everywhere.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
It works well and it looks impressive, but as having someone who had a media center, used Windows Media Center, it's just so similar. I can't, and it's so similar to the Vista era one.
Yeah.
So it's just bad flavor right there.
Yeah. What else you've been driving that's memorable, Forrest? We haven't had you on in a while, so there's
well, I'll tell you the most memorable one here in a second, but while I'm on the LX600 I just thought of something else that's super random. Okay, it uses the same engine that's in the new Tundra, the twin turbo V6, because there's no more V8. But why doesn't the Lexus have the hybrid one, which is the more powerful, like in my mind, the more luxurious setup? It doesn't even have it as an option. And I get the TRD Pro Thursday, which has the hybrid. And I'm like, dude, that'll be what is happening?
Interesting comparison.
It seems odd that they wouldn't give the better engine to the Lexus. I wonder if there's not enough room for that small battery pack or what.
I don't know. Because
I liked the base engine, honestly. On the Tundra, the new Tundra, I liked. Yeah. The hybrid's fine, but I thought the base one was like kind of fun to romp on and simple.
The only difference is that I think this LX is heavier and it's shaped more like a condominium. So the engine's working a lot more. I feel like
that's true.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not. Is it any more efficient than the old 5.7 V8? I'm not sure if you even had one of the old ones, but what are you seeing for efficiency?
So out here in the hills of California, I had the LX. Was it the 570 or whatever? I was getting like 11 to 12 miles per gallon. This one I'm getting like 14, 15.
Ooh, I mean, 50% better nearly.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm only getting I think the tank is smaller. I'm only getting like 264 miles a tank.
Wow.
Ooh, yeah.
That's our GX. Every time you fill it up, it's like 270. It's all it ever does.
Yeah, but yours is a V8 though, you know?
Yeah.
4.7.
You still get to keep the V8 and you don't have to worry about the turbos, which have apparently been having wastegate issues. Have you heard of that?
No, that's shocking to hear, actually.
Yeah, all the Tundras, like the first whole batch of Tundras got sent back because all the wastegates weren't working properly and their engines were messing up.
That's very un-Toyota-like.
Dude.
Yeah,
tell me about it.
Well, even Toyota misses the mark sometimes. BZ4X, whatever we're calling that now. I don't even remember the right letters, but
you have it right.
They'll get some right.
Oh, I was right.
Okay, BizForks.
BizForks.
Yeah, Kyle, like little things there.
Kyle had the BZ4X in California this week, and it took 5.5 hours to charge to full on a DC fast charge. Actually, he didn't
not even
full.
What?
Yeah, Forrest, 5.5 hours, 0 to 99, and then he gave up.
But it's reliable.
Is it though?
I don't know. That's what I assume every Toyota person would say.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a great car if you just drive it around town, charge at home. But yeah, road trip not good for road trips. But he'll tell us more about that at some point. And then I guess the Mirai was awesome. What else?
You guys just had the Rivian, which I also just had.
Yeah, big fan.
Yeah, not talked about a lot. I did. Like, wait, who? Jordan or?
I think both of you guys had it for a little while.
Yeah, like 5 days.
Yeah. So your camping trip with it, making the speaker and doing all that was a good test. Like lived with almost.
Yeah.
Wait, me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, where I took up the mountain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You used the frunk. I didn't get to use the frunk as a cooler.
Yeah. I didn't realize I had a drain. Once I saw the drain, I immediately was like, I'm doing it.
Yep.
Yes.
But
it's like
sorry, I was gonna say here's something not talked about. I need to tell you about all the issues we had with the truck.
All right. Shoot.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear it.
Dude. Okay, so the biggest issue we had 5 people. Let's estimate and say we're all about 200 pounds. So we loaded that truck up, 5 people. We put all of our gear in the gear tunnel, like ice and tons of drinks under the hood while we went up the mountain, ice and stuff sloshing around in there. So you're talking 2, 4, 6, 8, 10,000 pounds worth of people in like a 7,000 pound truck. So you're talking about 8,000 pounds roughly.
Mm-hmm.
Which is ridiculously heavy. And the air compressor, like 75% of the way up, overheated one time.
For the suspension?
Yeah, and so we tried to lift it, and it said air compressor too hot or something like that. I have a video of it somewhere, but basically we had to wait like 10, 15 minutes for it to like cool off, and then it raised it to the max ride height.
I think Kyle ran into that too on the trails.
Yeah, we had air suspension issues. Wonder if that's going to be an issue.
Dude, I was like,
maybe it's an undersized compressor. It runs a little too much.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking, dude. Because you see how big the compressor is on the Hummer EV.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I have not actually.
Is it like massive,
dimensionally large?
Yeah, they're huge.
Like bigger than my head and my hair.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, they're sizable. It's pretty impressive how big it is.
Yeah. But I think that's a good idea because there's so much weight. Just even standing still, there's so much weight pushing down on that suspension and the compressor. And I'm like, dude, that has to last like 5 to 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
But going up and down like that with all that weight with people.
Yeah,
and an electric truck, it's going to get a lot more use. It's not just sitting at one height till you tell it otherwise. It's going up and down all the time for aerodynamics and drive modes and handling and stuff. And like Lexus has air suspension in the rear, but it only levels itself when you put weight back there, so it really doesn't do anything 95% of the time.
Yep, the Rivian's always going, especially once you go above like what is it, Jordan, like 80 or something? It'll lower to the aero mode.
Yeah.
So it's constantly going up and down, up and down, up and down.
And then it's rough ride. Aero mode is not as comfortable.
No, it's pretty bouncy. I mean, it's not a bad truck. It's just like, just like any new startup, they have their issues.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
But
I'm sure there will be like air compressor heat sinks and cooling mods and stuff that hopefully it's in a semi-accessible place even.
Yeah.
Is it in like the front or the rear of the truck, or
what do you mean?
The compressor for the suspension. When it buzzes, do you hear which end it's on?
I don't know. It's like all the way around, right?
Quiet.
It takes forever though. Once you get it, like once it works a lot, like if it's like if it's warm, not like hot to where like the notification shows up. If it's like right before that's about to happen, it takes a long time for it to lift up, like 5 minutes.
Yeah, doesn't feel like it's very.
Wow. Ooh, yeah, that's pretty unimpressive.
Like underpowered.
Yes. Yeah, it's like the Lexus I'm in now. You raise it and it's like,
and done. 2 motions.
The Rivian's like.
Yeah,
for those that can't see, it was really slow.
The GLS is it can go like 4 different heights, but you can never tell what height you're in without going into info and then vehicle and then hit full screen and then it'll show you.
That's so weird.
Which is kind of annoying, but I guess that's not really the point.
Credit to Land Rover, who is somehow kind of notoriously known for like air suspension, which is not reliable. I have done a lot of off-roading in Land Rovers and never seen the air compressor for the suspension overheat. I spent 2 and 3 days in the Defender in the desert on the border of Mexico. They did fine. We were moving them up and down all day because we were doing access height every time we got out of them, and we were getting out of them all the time. So they'd slam down and then they'd go right back up every time.
Yep.
Or they don't have a temperature sensor and it was just burning and no one knew. I assume it has a temperature sensor.
It's a very JLR thing.
Could be. You never know.
Forrest, what do you think of the e-tron GT? You had a brown one, right?
The tactical green.
It looks brown.
Oh, tactical.
It looks like baby poop green.
Yeah, you can get the new S8 in that color. I can't imagine anyone doing that.
Oh, no.
Or buying an S8 to begin with.
It's a good car. It's, I don't know. I don't like the front interior. Like when you get in and out, my biggest complaint is when you get in and out on the driver or passenger side. Me and my wife, it seems like whatever height you are, you're gonna like almost bang your knee on the dash because it like, I wish I had a picture of it, but when you open the door, it almost like sticks out. It's really hard to explain.
Yeah,
I think it does that in the regular e-tron kind of too, because I do remember I owned a regular e-tron and I did hit my knee in it a couple times. It's their dash design. It like juts out.
Yeah,
and it's for an angular, beautiful car. You have to sacrifice something.
Well, because I actually do like the.
It should be noted the Taycan on the same platform. I do not hit my knee on. So, and I'm a big guy. I have to duck when I get into it because it's kind of a small opening. But
Yeah. No, I don't have that problem with the Taycan. It's just the e-tron. But the e-tron is easier to get into the back, whereas the Taycan is like a full-on gymnastics exercise to get into the back.
Oh, yeah, because you gotta tuck your feet under the front seat if you want to sit back there. And if the seat has gone into easy entry position, you're just trapped.
Yeah, it's easily claustrophobic for me, and it takes a lot for me to get claustrophobic, and that back seat does it for me.
Yep. It's better than the 911, but that's a low bar.
This has rear doors.
This is true. Man.
e-tron GT.
Audi does have better wheels, I feel like. Well, I mean, there's some good Taycan wheels, but for vehicles on the same platform, more of the Audi wheel choices seem to be universally appealing. Or some of the Taycan wheels are kind of, there's ones that look like Frisbees. Those are bad. They're real bad.
Oh, yeah. That's so funny.
So, Forrest, did you prefer, between the e-tron GT and the Taycan, because I know you spent time at both now, do you prefer one infotainment to the other? Like the Audi one or the Porsche one?
Oh, for sure. I think if you were to get both cars and make the perfect car out of both, you would have the Taycan's handling and cool electric sound, specifically the electric sound from the GTS, because it's a lot more pronounced than that model. And it sounds really, really cool. But then it would have all of Audi's infotainment with all of Audi's ambient lighting and
Audi's HVAC.
Oh, ambient lighting
Audi's
is something
HVAC.
that the Taycan sucks at.
Yes.
The multicolor ambient lighting, they just stick an LED under one of the doors and it just shines a big spotlight of color that you've chosen. It's not there's no strips or real cool anything except for cup holders. It sort of just looks like someone did an AliExpress ambient lighting setup. It's pretty bad.
Yes, dude. It's crazy.
I was going to buy it, and then I actually sat in a car and I'm like, wow, this looks so much worse with it than it does without it.
Dude, it's funny because the interior of the entire Taycan, the two best things of the interior of the Taycan that I've seen on every trim level is the cool roof on the GTS. So once again, perfect car, you'd have that cool roof. You'd have the dynamics and sound of the Taycan with the power and handling, whatever. You would have the Taycan's curved screen, keep that.
Yeah.
But then get rid of the bottom screen in the Taycan, get rid of the passenger screen, and then the main screen, make it Audi's sort of, or at least make it match the driving display, because it's the other three screens are running 720 and the driving display is running 4K.
Yeah, it is noticeably different.
Oh yeah, it's so laggy in comparison. I'm like, what the heck? The refresh rates are different. And I'm like, what the? It's just really strange.
The Taycan we raced to Vegas had a serious issue. If we tried to, because you know how on the driver's display you can adjust the 4 things you can put in your custom display.
Yeah.
We had an issue where if we tried to adjust more than one line at a time, it would brick the system. So I'm driving down I-70 at 75 miles an hour and having to do the press the corner of the screen to
2 fingers on the clock. Yeah.
Go into engineering mode and then reboot it, and then it was bad. And it was that was the issue. If I adjusted one line, it would do it. And then I have to close back out and completely go back to the home screen, then go back to the settings and find it again, adjust it differently. It was such a weird bug. But hopefully it's updated now. I don't know. But,
I mean, I think my car might have newer software. Presumably, it's a year newer car. It doesn't do that. I did configure mine without bricking it. I haven't tried since, though. Maybe it's a recent issue.
Yeah. I know Logan's had to do that a few times on his, too. So, I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yep. Forrest, you also had my favorite car ever, the NSX Type S.
Dude,
tell me all about it.
That is my dream car. If I had the money, I would buy one immediately.
Same. It is the best looking car on sale, I think.
Dude, it looks so good. And oh my gosh. it's such a phenomenal car, and like it's one of those vehicles where like if you had, I think it was like what 170 something like that, 175. Let's just say 180. Dude, yeah, and they only made 250 for the world, like 150 for America, and only like 50 in that color. So you spend 180 and immediately like basically made double just by buying that vehicle. You could probably sell it for 2 times as much next year.
Yeah. And you have one of the rarest cars in the world instantaneously.
Instantaneously. And the coolest part with the Type S is that like visually it looks different than every other NSX that has ever been made. So like, and it looks the best.
Yes.
Oh yeah. It's like it's more aggressive in all the right ways.
Yeah, dude. The infotainment and everything, the infotainment is horrific. But other than that, and I hate the cup holders. I'm like, dude, for a supercar that you can literally daily drive, like I drove that around. I'm pretty sure I put like a little bit more miles than they told me I could put on there, like 50 more than allowed. But dude, it's just so good to drive, and it's easy to get in, get out. Whereas like a McLaren, you drive it for like 2 hours and you're like ready to get into anything else.
Yep. Yeah, you're just beat up. Yours are bleeding.
Yeah,
like you're all right.
And McLarens actually ride really well too, compared to most other cars out there. Supercars, that is.
They do. Most of it is like the getting in and out, the noise. Though the noise is great, it's like after 2 hours of it, you kind of like get headache, and it's like scary fast. Whereas this is fast, but it's not like it feels like a lot more controllable. Whereas McLaren, you have to have like some level of skill.
Yeah, you get awesome launch control out of the hybrid system. But I'm curious, how legit is the EV mode? Because you can't charge it. So it's just like a normal hybrid. But like, in the Toyotas, they kind of have a BS, like Prius EV button, which like, as far as I can tell, does literally nothing. Like how far can you go? How fast can you go theoretically?
So
not far. I'm sure it's like a mile really, but like, can you actually do some speed with it? Or
you can, I think I did like, if you're going below like 60, like maybe around town or certain roads, you could probably do up to like 40 miles an hour in EV mode. The highest I did was about 50. That was like real light throttle. And for the Type S specifically, they gave it more battery capacity. So you can drive further on EV mode and you can like accelerate harder in EV mode. So like you can push the pedal a little bit more without it switching straight over into gas. So surprisingly, I drove around in like fully electric mode quite a bit, especially if you're driving around town or whatever. And it's the best thing because people see it drive by and then they double take so hard because they're like, what? They're like, that thing is driving around like completely silent.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You could use it like if it's probably got a loud startup when you start the engine up. Can you start it up in EV mode and like stealth your way out of the driveway and then switch over?
No, as far as I know,
the engine noise every time.
Every time you can like turn on the accessory power and switch it into quiet and start it up, but you still get the startup from the engine. It's just like quieter. But then as soon as you put it into reverse, the engine will stay on. But the moment you go into drive, it'll cut it off and then go into EV mode. Yeah, it's really strange, but it's like a step up from like a Toyota hybrid where like you can drive in EV mode a little bit more, but it's still similar in a lot of ways to where like if you accelerate too hard, it'll switch over to gas and all that. But
it's an interesting idea. It's a good one.
Yeah. How's the ELS sound system in that thing?
It's great, mostly because if you're driving around in quiet mode, the engine is actually pretty quiet in quiet mode. It has like silencers in the exhaust, so like it'll make it like you're driving a little 4-cylinder economy car or something. Yep. And so you can just hear it a lot better. Whereas like in a McLaren, for example, you have like a Bowers and Wilkins and a twin turbo V8 behind your head with like crazy whistling turbos.
That's all you hear. Yeah,
it's all part
that's
of
all you hear, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, someone asked me on like one of my videos, they're like, how's the sound system? I'm like, you literally can't hear it. Like,
it shouldn't even be one.
Dude, especially since I had the Spider, I'm like, there's no point in even turning it on.
Yeah, if you paid to option the Bowers and Wilkins in this car, you are crazy,
dude. Yeah, I'm just spending money just to spend it at that point.
Exactly. Build sheet specs.
It's like paying for a golden spoon to eat your dinner with, and then giving it back at the end of the night.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, dude, what else have y'all driven that you guys have liked lately?
I'm super excited because the GLS goes back tomorrow, and they're leaving the i4 M50 with me.
Ooh.
So spicy BMW electric 4 Series. Me and Kyle drove it in Vegas in January, but I didn't really get to spend. I mean, we spent like 20 minutes with it. So this is going to be like an actual dedicated. Let's see how it does, see how it charges, see how the range is. We're going to do everything with it, at least we can. So
it's an all-wheel drive car too.
Yes.
Dual motor. Okay.
All-wheel drive, dual motor, slightly more powerful rear motor. Yeah, should be really interesting. I just love this thing. Still slightly blocked out grille on the front, just like the iX, but not just like the iX. The iX looks a little funkier. I don't think it's necessarily bad. Well, it's kind of bad, but I've gotten used to the iX, I guess I should say. But this thing just looks awesome. I saw Savage Geese's video on it, and they nailed it on the title. I don't know how I'm going to top this, but I think they said impressively normal, because that's it's just like a normal BMW 4 Series, but it's electric, which is interesting because I think usually when cars are electrified, it's like, wow, they've suddenly got way better performance, better dynamics, just better everything. And in this case, it's almost like, what would you rather have? Would you have like a really great B58 powertrain with a ZF transmission and just handle it on the limits that way? Or would you take the electric version, which is also extremely capable? It's almost like, what flavor do you want? I like that you have options. So yeah, probably not quite M4 spicy level, but I really, really like this thing, and I'm excited to see how it goes. I think it's got active dampening, rear air suspension. So yeah, just see how everything works. I've never really spent much time with the BMW infotainment, so I want to see what I think of that. I'll probably do an entire video on the infotainment just by itself, because it is relatively new. I don't know if we mentioned on the earlier podcast, but I found my hero. I found the engineer at BMW who develops the wireless CarPlay and Android Auto functions for BMW. Like, he's the head guy for CarPlay and Android Auto. And I was like, listen, your system connects the fastest of all of them. Thank you for your service.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you appreciate that.
My Mini connects almost as soon as the car's on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So I'm excited to play with this thing.
Speaking of my Mini, that's basically what I've been driving. I actually filmed a 6-month update with it recently. I think it's going live on the channel tomorrow, Outer Spec Reviews. And it's basically, I answer the question, do I regret buying such a small range Mini in today's world?
Yeah, so what's the range?
EPA rate 112 miles for the 2022 model year.
Nice.
Yep.
Which in reality is all you need, because that particular car I've not needed any more of, but I'm not going to go any further. You want to watch my video and me stumble through it for the first time ever. You can do that tomorrow when it goes live. Nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess to add on to whatever you say in the video, how do you feel? How do you feel about it? What's additional thoughts and feelings after 6 months?
So, overall, I definitely don't regret it. I think for the money, it's definitely worth. It's a great value. If you're just using it as a straight commuter car, just runabout city car, going to the grocery store, the gym, back and forth to work, that is where that car excels. If you can plug it in every night, I think you should have at-home charging, at least a level 2 charger with it. You are going to be fine. You'll never even think about gas again. But if you're buying a car and you plan to go on long road trips, I would look elsewhere and spend a little bit more money to get more range. And it only charges at 50 kilowatts fast charging, so it's not super fast, but the battery's so tiny that it doesn't take that long. It has a pretty good charging curve,
Nice.
from what I understand. I'm going to do a full test on that this week, so we'll see.
Nice.
But overall, love the Mini, especially in British Racing Green, as they should be.
Yeah, always love the Minis. Yeah, I think if it had like 150 or 200 miles, I would probably have one.
I think the next one will.
I've calculated that's like what I would need. Like if we still had the 500e Fiat, I would probably have one because that's about what I need for my daily driving stuff. Just because I'm driving to Fort Collins and back, which is 135 miles round trip.
Oh my gosh. I had no idea you lived that far from the office. It's crazy.
Yeah, but it's actually more convenient than we expected. I guess it's not convenient. It's just how can we use that to our benefit? And I live, in Denver, which is where a lot of car stuff happens. On one hand, I get why Kyle lives in Fort Collins. On the other hand, there's no car stuff up there. So we have to come to Denver for everything. So we always argue about who lives in the better place. And I'm going to say I do. But, for like range test, he's in a great spot because he's like the last town before Wyoming. So you can just drive an EV till it hits 50% and drive it back. Easy. But I live right by the best charging test location. So we'll use that to our advantage. So I'm going to do a charging test on the i4 and then he'll do a range test.
And I've also been driving a throwback for the weekend, Volvo S90. It's been a minute since I've been in a Volvo car, but it just makes me miss my V90 is all it's done. But surprisingly, even just for a standard T5, it's a really nice car. I completely understand why people buy them, though nobody buys the S90 because nobody buys sedans anymore.
Every time I see one, though, it's like, really it looks so good.
Volvo I think styling. It looks great. I would buy one of these over a 7 Series for sure.
Yeah.
It's got more character.
What do you think of like the plug-in hybrids? Have any of you guys driven PHEV Volvos much?
Yeah, we drove the V60 Polestar a ton. I'm fucking in love with that car.
Yeah,
I would love to have one.
Should have bought one.
I don't have a way to justify it because at like $70,000, it's a compromised sports car and kind of a compromised electric vehicle in a way.
Yeah.
And it's not the sportiest, nor does it have the best EV performance, and it's a bit expensive. But even though it checks none of my boxes, I really want one deeply.
Yeah. Are they going to put the updated hybrid setup in? Are they going to make like a new Polestar? Because they just upped it to where like I think the new plug-in hybrids now get up to like mid to high 30s in like EV only range, and it's making like 455 horsepower.
Yep. Yeah. So you can actually get the V60 Polestar with the new one, the extended. I think they call it the recharge extended. So yeah, it's 455 horsepower and like 516 foot-pounds of torque now.
Dude.
So that's pretty crazy, and it's the same price. The price I don't think changed at all on that car.
What? Okay, that's pretty impressive.
It's the same. Yeah.
Okay,
so
that's cool.
Pretty intriguing.
Yeah. I wonder if that would make it, because that was my only issue with the Polestar engineered ones. I'm just like, I was like, it was good, but it I feel like it needed to be turned up just a little bit. And like I think 450 is great. I think it's a good horsepower number.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the suspension.
Forrest, you get the C40 soon, right?
Tomorrow.
Nice.
Wait, can you hear me?
Yep.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. I test drove the C40 just for at a regular dealership because I've been interested in the C40 for a while, and I really liked it. I mean, they're super fast. I like the coupe look, so I think it looks way better than the XC40, like 100 times better. And it has amber turn signals.
It looks cool.
Dude, Jordan texted me earlier, and he was like, "Oh, I get the i4 soon." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I get the C40." And Jordan's like, "I don't know. I prefer the XC40, right?
Yeah.
Recharge." And I told him, I was like, "Dude, you get a little bit more practicality with XC40 recharge, but I think the C40 recharge is cool because you can only get that body style in the EV like powertrain, So I feel like people know for sure when they see it, okay, that's the electric one. Whereas you can easily get the XC40 and XC40 Recharge kind of confused, and it doesn't stand out as much as I feel like.
Which could be a benefit if you don't want any sort of flashiness. But
that's true.
I will say
those 21s you can get on the C40 look so good. And that's all that matters.
Dude, those like 5 spokes?
Yeah, the big blade ones.
The chunky ones? I know. So
good. Those are so good.
And
Volvo does wheels really well for some reason, which is odd for a company like Volvo to do. I mean, you would think that like, and meanwhile, sometimes you look at a BMW and you're like, what are they thinking with that wheel? And they should be good at it.
Yeah, BMW usually has like way too many spokes.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, all the time, yeah. I just saw an M8 today. It had like 54 spokes on each wheel. I'm like, that's a pain in the butt.
Tell me why I was about to say that exact same number. So
what color is your C40? Do you know that you're getting? Is it Fjord blue?
They sent me the
I'm just curious. It actually looks really good in red. Fusion red, I think it is.
I've only seen it in blue. I've only seen 2 in real life. Just one today and then one a couple days ago.
Well, you can only get the blue carpet with Fjord blue or white, or ice white, I think it's called in the exterior.
I will say the in renders, I didn't like it as much, but now that I've seen it in person, I like XC40 and C40 about the same, just different, like.
I love it.
Vibes. Okay, here we go. Okay, it says C40 Recharge Twin Ultimate. What does the twin part mean?
Twin motor.
Twin motor. Because we only in the United States we only get it one way. The Twin Ultimate. In Europe, you can get, I think, just like the front wheel drive version, like the Polestar.
With like 2, I think they have a smaller battery, and you can get one that's like less ultimate as far as options are concerned, with less features.
Yeah, no Harman Kardon or smaller wheels.
They should
probably get it without a glass roof and all that.
They should bring out another special edition called the Pentultimate. And it's just like absolute banging everything.
Wouldn't that be like second best, right? I think that's second to best. Yeah, penultimate is like second. Yeah, so it'd be the trim down from ultimate.
Oh. Yep.
Or the single motor, because you got the twin ultimate, you got the single child ultimate.
I don't know. Yeah, right. I bet you they just call it the Recharge because Volvo was very creative like that.
Poverty drivetrain.
It doesn't say a paint color.
It
just says metallic paint.
Okay, so it's not black. I think their black is the only flat color because Thunder Gray, I think, is even metallic. He has a metallic to it.
Yeah, it's a $695 paint option. So I'm gonna quickly go to Volvo C40 and see what my choices could be.
Oh, Sage Green.
C40. Do Jordan Sage Green, right?
I love Sage Green. Here, I'll just.
I don't know if I like Sage Green on the C40 though.
I just think it needs to look C40. So
I just want that blue. That's all I want, honestly.
Oh yeah, Fjord blue. That's one that I drove. Amazing. It's a great color in person. That's how I would order it.
How much real world miles have people been getting in this? Because the website says 200 plus, but then if you go into like details of Volvo's website, it says like 250 something.
So I think it's rated. Yeah, there you go. Like I was going to say 220 something. So I think at the real world, people are not quite hitting that from what I've understand. That's a pretty optimistic figure. These cars seem to.
Are they only doing the C40 with those big 5-spoke wheels? There's no other option?
Yeah, you only get one wheel choice.
Oh, that's perfect because they're great. There's nothing wrong with those. Oh, they're 20s. I thought they were 21s. Well, someone needs to make a 21-inch version of them.
Well, the car actually sits lower than the XC40 too.
Oh, really?
Yep. So it sits lower and has a lower roof line.
That does look good.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it could be any color.
I think this front 3/4.
Yeah, it could literally be any color.
My least favorite angle of that car. I really like the rear 3/4.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it's at, right there. That's the view.
Yeah, like those spoilers. It's so cool.
I would add like 3 more spoilers.
Wow.
Yeah, love this thing.
Yeah, dude, it's basically every color except for black is $695. So.
Yep.
So you'll be in for a surprise, but I'm excited to see which one you get, and hear your opinion of it. It's pretty fast. I forgot how fast they are, and they have 408 horsepower. So it moves.
Yeah, because they don't have driving modes, right? So it's just like depends how you use the accelerator.
Yeah. I just hope it has those blue carpets.
Yes, that would look so good on TikTok.
Yeah, dude. And like the vibrant stuff does well.
Yeah, the blue carpet is amazing. It's all recycled material, and I love that backlit design on the dash. It's like topographic at night. That's all lit up white like that. It's really cool.
Oh, that's so cool. That reminds me of the Rolls-Royce art gallery thing for the dashboard trim you can do, where you commission your own artwork for it. It's very cool.
That's neat.
Except it's a tenth the price.
Yeah. Yeah, really like that.
And virtually identical in every other way.
News-wise, I wanted to mention a few things because the Supra is finally getting a manual, which, it's no like brand new news, but it's a big deal because a lot of people, it was almost like the cliche thing to be like, yeah, it's good, but it should have a manual. And now they're giving it a manual. Is it a Toyota
can't
manual?
Wait for dealers to charge $200.
I think they said they were making the manual in-house or something.
So that'll be interesting. So it won't be necessarily the driving, performance of like a BMW car with the same engine and their manual. So I'm curious to see how that compares. And for now, it's just going to be the 3-liter. I'm sure they'll bring it to the 2-liter eventually because they're trying to bring something new every year. So they got to trickle it down somehow.
That's a good point because BMW manuals are so hit or miss, whereas for the most part, Toyota manuals are pretty rock solid.
Yeah. Have you done like the GR86 Smith manual?
I haven't. Wait. Yes, I have. I'm sorry. I have done the GR86 with manual. It was like a base model with the manual transmission.
Last Toyota manual I drove was a 2000 Celica GTS. It was terrible, but I'm sure it's gotten a lot better since then.
That's so funny.
I'm obsessed with the Supra. I just think, 500 limit though. Surely they'll make more.
I think so I thought they only make 500, but they're making a limited 500 unit run of the A91 MT, which is like a special edition. But I think the manual transmission will be available on all the models without a limit.
Yep.
And you get like that special cognac tan interior. I was really disappointed for a minute because I thought they were only making 500. I'm like, you guys, you can't do this. You can't say, oh, no one wants to buy manuals and only make 500. That would be so frustrating.
Yeah,
here's what will happen. They won't do it again because not enough enthusiasts will get the manual. That always seems
nobody will actually buy it who says they want it.
Yep.
Yeah. Everyone's like, man, I really want this as a manual. And then those are the people like, I can't wait for the manual ones to get cheap.
I can't wait for it to be used.
Which helps Toyota not at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, at least get it certified pre-owned,
right.
So they can count the figure.
I don't know. I mean, I'm intrigued by the Supra. This makes me a little bit more inclined to maybe want to buy one, but at the same time, I just don't know if it's a car for me. So overall, I don't know if I'd live with that car every day.
I would just never buy one.
I hit my head on the door frame every time.
Well, that's easy. Yeah. But the C40, on the other hand, you could buy.
I could. You know what's funny, dude? I've been going back and forth because we don't own a car. And we're thinking about what car to get and blah, 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 blah. And I've been talking like my tax guy. And he's like, well, you have all these options. You can do this, you can do this, you can do this. And he's like, you can lease it and write off every lease payment. So you technically get the car for free. And I'm like, well, that sounds cool. But then you only have a certain amount of miles. And I don't know, dude. There's just so many things. Because now that I have like an established LLC, you can take advantage of like if you bought like a plug-in hybrid, you can take advantage of the tax credits. And like one vehicle that I thought for a hot second about getting, which is so random, but I don't think this car gets enough credit. Pacifica hybrid, dude. Like
oh, absolutely. I love seeing those plugged in.
Dude,
Yeah.
full federal tax credit, $7,500 federal tax credit, right? So like, let's say if I owed 20 grand in taxes, right? Then that's 7,500 of that. It weighs 6,300 pound gross weight. So that's over the 6,000 pound limit already.
Yeah.
And then it gets like 33
So you can write
miles.
the whole car off then.
Dude, it's like 33 miles just on electric. And like, that's a heavy vehicle. It's like 1,000 pounds heavier than like a RAV4 Prime. And RAV4 Prime is doing like high 30s. So the fact that that's a minivan doing low 30s on just electric is like really impressive. And I don't think anyone talks about that enough.
I was going to say, I think you're right. I think that is very overlooked, and you definitely don't hear about it enough. That is interesting. That is not a plug-in.
That is a riced out Pacifica, and that's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Google Images is a scary place. Yeah, no, Pacific Hybrid is awesome. What's
especially
like
in Pinnacle trim?
Oh yeah. Oh, they didn't have the Pinnacle when they first came out with it.
What's the range?
No.
The EV only range?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like 32 miles.
That's solid.
Yeah, it's like low 30s. I don't know the exact number. I haven't built one in a while.
Or Jordan, you can Google it. My internet's running slow for some reason.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna build one.
Gonna build one. They're like 60 grand. They're pretty expensive.
Yeah, they're not cheap. They're like money.
Which is weird because it's a Chrysler. I'm just like, oh yikes.
It's like the only vehicle Chrysler makes now.
7,500 cash credit, tax credit.
I don't think they're in any danger of running out of that soon, to be honest.
No, dude. No.
I was gonna say I can't remember the last time I saw one of these.
The only thing
I do see them.
We see them in our area because we're in like a tech hub. And so like tech, like you got to get something that has like 3 rows, all that stuff. There aren't many 3-row like hybrids and EVs, you know, especially if you don't want to drop Model X money. Like that's the only real game in town, I feel like, for 3-row, like actual 3-row where you have space in it.
Yeah. It's just shocking to me that that 3-row minivan is a plug-in hybrid and gets like 10 more miles than like a Wrangler PHEV or like the new Grand Cherokee 4xe. I'm just like, dude, that's like actually impressive. And that came out like what, 2 years prior to those?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they came out a number of years ago now, and they're also a 6-cylinder. They're not a turbo 4 or anything. Like it's just a straight up V6.
Yeah, V6 with a hybrid.
Like it's pretty cool.
I guess you don't get any options other than paint colors.
Is that
the one issue I know of with this is that you don't get any like control over the EV and hybrid modes. It just does what it wants, and you got to live with that, which is kind of annoying. As like, you know, when you're an EV enthusiast, you're kind of EV adjacent, where you're like, I want full power, but I don't want that engine to come on. You have to fight it a little bit.
Yep.
Oh, weird. So then, how do you go just 32 miles just on electric?
You just drive in a way that doesn't trigger the engine. I don't know exactly what the parameters were. It's not necessarily like full throttle will always trigger it, but like temperature for like heating and cooling can, you know, like I think heat primarily will come from the engine. So I think if it like in the winter, like it's tougher because it's going to want to run the engine to generate heat instead of, running in EV mode. That's
probably better, to be honest, because have you ever tried to explain the point of a plug-in hybrid to a non-car person? Like,
it's like a foreign language.
Dude, I feel like an idiot. They're like, so like, what's the point of having the plug? I'm like, so you can drive just on electric. And they're like, then why don't you just get an EV? I'm like, because you want the safety net of like gas. They're like, so if it's a hybrid, can it drive like half on electric and half on gas? It's like, no, you can only go 30 miles. I'm like, so what's the point? And I'm like, oh. This conversation was with my wife, by the way.
I've definitely talked to some non-car people about like PHEVs, and they're just like, so do I have to plug it in? Like they don't want to. I'm like, no, that's the point of paying the extra for this one, is that you would plug it in. If you don't want to plug it in, you don't get the hybrid. That's just how it works pretty much.
Yeah. But then they're like, so wait, I got to pay for charging and I got to pay for gas? I'm like, yes. They're like, and then you say yes and you're like, This is awkward.
The best way I've come across explaining it to people is, what if you could get 2 gallons of gas for free every night? By simply plugging a cable into the car. You get 2 free gallons every morning when you start your drive. That's what it does. When those gallons are up, the engine turns on. It's a normal car. Yeah. But it's cutting costs that way, and that kind of helps. But some people are like, oh, wait, what do I do when I need gas? I'm like, you fill it up still. Like,
yep. Or then it's even more complicated when you explain the fact that some plug-in hybrids, you can use the engine to charge the battery, which uses more gas.
Yes. Oh, yeah, because that question I was going to say. So can't you just use the battery or the engine to charge the battery? Yes, but that's not how it's meant to be used.
Yes. It's like it's only in like an emergency, and they're like, but what's the emergency? And you're like,
I will say the only time that was like, oh, wait, this is really great is when I had the Jeep
the Wrangler 4xe.
Wrangler 4xe. I was blanking.
I saw it. I saw your eyes glaze over.
Yeah, literally. I went to go do some trails, and I was like, I want to do trails in electric mode. And, the battery's not charged. So I just charged it on my way to the trail and then did the trails in all electric, which was awesome. So that's like the one use case. But I feel like that's a very rare use case.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, you could be going from one city to another and then want to have some charge for New York traffic jam when you get there. That's an option too.
Yeah, that's very true.
And in most European countries, you will have cities that have like a non-emissions zone where when you're in that city center, you have to be running in electric mode no matter what, or you pay a higher tax when you enter the city center. So that's what a lot of it's for as well. But in the US, we don't really utilize that. It's more for like nerding out and being specific about where you might want to do it.
Yeah. I think that was a real good point, Ben, because I remember seeing that in like Top Gear, where they're like, I think he was talking about it was when he filmed not Top Gear. Wait.
Grand Tour?
Grand Tour. No. Was it Grand Tour?
i8?
Top Gear? Yeah, i8.
It's on Amazon. It's a Grand Tour. But he did film with an i8 a few years ago on Top Gear before they weren't on Top Gear.
It was before Top Gear stopped. So they were still on Top Gear as the main 3, and he's driving the i8. And I think it's like one of the last 2 seasons. And he's like, yeah, I can drive in gas. He talks about he can drive it fast. You brake hard, it recharges the battery. And then when he gets into whatever town, which requires like no emissions, he can turn it into electric mode. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Yeah. But out here in America, it doesn't make any sense because we don't have it.
Most like plugins that are sold across, both sides of the, Atlantic, you've got like BMWs, Land Rovers, presumably Porsche, other PHEVs that are, multinational like that. When you are putting stuff in GPS, it takes into account those ZEV zones or zero emissions zones, and will like hold battery so you can get through that zone, automatically, which is pretty clever. Like it will use a little battery when you're leaving your city and then go gas for the whole highway. And then once you get near your, city center, it'll then switch back to electric, knowing that's the zone you need to be using it for. It's pretty automated at least on the Land Rover ones. I've seen how that works.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. Well, I want to touch on some EV nodes really quick because the F-150 has more power than we thought. So I guess it was just over a year ago when I went and saw it in Michigan. And the figures they quoted were, 426 and 563, depending on battery packs and motors. But now it's 452 and 580, which is a decent amount of power. Again, not like Rivian or Hummer EV, but this is also cheaper. And still 775 pound-feet of torque. So they didn't change the torque at all. But that's interesting. And also because the Lightning launch was recent. And someone at Ford, I don't remember who it was, but confirmed they're working on making more electric Ford pickup trucks other than the F-150. So now the speculation's like, what are they going to do? Maverick, Ranger, something completely different? Or like big heavy-duty ones? That'd be an interesting twist. Maverick
F550 electric.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's just 6 motor.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
I want an electric dually. Whoever makes it first.
Hey, that'd be cool.
That's
There's
true.
definitely
But
an
it needs to be able
application
to
for
roast
heavy-duty trucks.
all four rear tires. It needs to be able to do a burnout on. That's the requirement.
That would be so cool, dude. Yeah. I have a
It'll
question.
be Dodge who does that first, probably.
Yes. They'll probably do it with a new EV truck that's coming out. Without a doubt. Oh,
What was your question, Forrest?
Sorry. Okay, so is it confirmed whether or not the F-150 Lightning is using any of Rivian's tech?
They are not. So I asked the head engineer of off-roading, so maybe not the final say and everything, but he said Ford is not using anything from Rivian, but the opposite may be true. Rivian may be using some stuff from Ford, but probably not really the tech itself. It's probably more like just getting engineering assistance from certain people. But I think they're pretty much entirely separate entities. They just both happen to be making electric trucks and have had investments with each other. So
because I recently saw something where, like, you may have to Google it, but I only saw one article on it saying something about like the F-150 Lightning may get tank turn, and that immediately like use those two together for me.
Patent for it, I think, too. Which is
that's what it was.
They don't have the motors to do that.
Yeah, because they only have the two motors, not the quad.
Yeah, for now. You never know.
Well, wait for the Raptor. I bet you the Raptor is going to do quad tank turn. You know, that'll be it.
Well, I mean, Rivian doesn't even do tank turns, so. Yeah, I don't know. It's
a good question. I thought about that too. I was never sure. I guess I'm not surprised they don't actually share any like specific technology, because I'm sure Rivian has like their own patents on a lot of their stuff. So it's probably more like Jordan said, more for the engineering aspect or ramping up like vehicle production. Hopefully they're not sharing the same air compressor if the F-150
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're not telling the truth, if I'm being super honest. I feel like they have to be sharing something, but I don't know.
For the investment, you imagine you want your money back, considering you just lost billions of dollars.
I don't know. It's interesting because the range is very similar to the R1T, but I don't know if like reducing power on like the F-150 would help them get more range, because like the Rivian's putting out like 835, F-150's putting out significantly less. So would that different tuning like help them to get more range out of it versus like the R1T?
I don't know.
I mean, do we know what the range is?
If you use the same electric motor in it, you limit it horsepower wise, it'll still do the same efficiency as if it had its full horsepower capability, at least.
Gotcha.
It's only consuming as much as you ask it to in that moment.
Mm-hmm. I want to point out
them differently, and you can certainly have a different inverter or motor setup that could be more or less efficient. So they just but you can't like throw a tune on one that changes its efficiency, which is kind of the big difference.
Gotcha.
I want to point out the fake charging door on the right side of the truck was a missed opportunity, because that could have been another J1772 like Taycan does.
Wait, it's not?
Nope, that is
really?
That is a fake, permanently affixed thing, versus the other side of the truck has the actual charging.
That is hilarious.
What side is it on then that you actually plug in? Driver's side?
Driver's side.
I hate that side. Because when you have a fast charge, you have to open your door right into the thing, and it's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm very surprised, at least not where I am in California, which was weird because they have the most charging stations out here. But for these EV trucks, I'm very surprised no one has already thought about installing like sideways charging ports, because I don't want to have to unhook my trailer every time I charge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for real.
We had issues with that when we were towing with the Rivian. We basically blocked 8 charging spaces to the right of the last charger. Yeah, we just haven't quite gotten there yet, but hopefully we see more of that, because more and more people are pointing that out. And even if it's not a common use case, you almost have to now for the sake of public perception.
So for sure.
Implement
and there's just more trucks coming out that are electric. Or at least
I
think right now it's an edge case, but in a few more years it may not be such an edge case. People will be doing it.
Yeah.
We got more car news to share, though. This is what I'm excited about.
Already.
911. Yeah, of course. 911 Classic.
This is
142 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, manual transmission, and a ducktail, also with special colors and stripes. That's all.
Might I add the biggest ducktail?
Yes. Yes. And you get some heritage gold badging, which is kind of a cool look. I think, taking a page out of the Lexus book, credit's due on that one.
Love this.
And
I love those wheels.
Yes.
I've always loved Porsche's press photos because they're always so ridiculous when you start looking at them.
Okay, yes. Go back
the more
to
you
that,
look, the more
picture.
crazy they seem.
Yeah, go back up.
Parked at the side of the pool.
Dude, I just realized there's a lady in that pool right there.
Chilling by the
imagine telling your architect what you want your pool deck to be able to withstand. Oh yeah, I'm going to park a car next to the pool. Why? It doesn't make sense, but it looks great.
That spoiler looks so good. I just love everything about. Imagine,
I think 1,250 of them.
If that was my driveway,
sadly,
if this was my driveway, I would come out on my porch just like this guy every morning in my blue suit and look down on all my Porsches, and one is parked backwards for some reason. And wait, how'd they even get them there? Looks like they're just
Austin Powers 18 million point turning.
Yes.
That's a Pablo Escobar looking photo shoot right there.
Yeah.
That's a cartel kind of a setup.
That's so funny.
Dude, this is a perfect example of who actually has the money to buy the cars and who lusts after these cars. Because you have people like us and Ben, Jordan, Mike, and we see this and we're like, oh yeah, this is so cool. But then you have the people that actually buy it who own houses like that, who probably buy it, collect it, store it away, and save it until the value goes up.
Yep.
Oh, and the value's already gone up.
There's few mavericks who will drive them till the wheels fall off, and to them, I salute you. That is what should be done.
But the funny part is the people that do that, they probably bought two. That way they can tear one up and still save them.
Yeah. I'm sure Bob Ingram will have one parked in his garage.
They will. Yeah, the Ingram collection's definitely getting one. Although at 1,250, that's pretty common for their collection. He doesn't usually show up to a Cars and Coffee with a car that's a 1 of 25. And if it is a 1 of 25 car, it's the one that won Le Mans. He'd never won up anyone, but he has the ultimate one up collection when it comes to rare Porsches in that respect. They only made 5 of these, but this is the first one. It's always something like that, which is interesting.
I have to say, I love European license plates, and every time I see American license plates, I think they're so ugly. I guess they're too tall. Oh, I was in Boulder with.
This is one of the few cars where press photos have a front plate on them, though, and it still looks good.
It's weird. Mm-hmm. I was in Boulder with my friend Jeff, who owns a Volvo, and we were in a coffee shop, and this lady put her key down to put cream in her coffee, and it was a white Volvo key. And so, of course, he immediately struck up a conversation because Volvo owners do this. And he started asking her about it, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I just got back from taking delivery in Sweden, and from the factory." And we go outside and see her Volvo with the Euro plate. And I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. So I really want to go to the factory now.
Yeah, factory delivery is cool.
Before we wrap up, didn't you have a Range Rover thing to talk about, Ben?
Yes, I do. So I've got a 92 Range Rover Turbo D now. It's been a fun project. Will continue to be a project. I think it will never stop being a project because it's just an old Land Rover. But it's great to drive. It's just it's a very unique experience you don't get anywhere else. And it's actually very nice to drive in a modern context still. But I was looking for some just parts, generic information, and I found this website called CommonwealthClassics.com. And they import, you should check them out. They're really cool. They import Defenders, Range Rovers, G-Wagons, Land Cruisers, all sorts of cool sort of off-road stuff like that. They've even got some Alphas and Lancia kind of rally type cars as well. They've done, they'll build out trucks in a Singer type fashion almost and restore them. And on their store page, I was scrolling and I was like, oh, they've got this really cool print of a Range Rover that looks just like mine. How perfect is that? I'm going to get that. And as we were looking closer, we realized the number plate on it is the same number plate as my car. So it is actually our car.
That's so cool.
And so I actually bought it.
Oh, that's sick.
I love that.
Dude, it looks so much better on your screen. Like
it does, yeah.
So much nicer.
Yeah, the colors are more vibrant.
That's awesome.
And it's on it's done by Marker, and they do it on the like printout, like newspaper printout. So it's kind of got related contextual, like, you know, outdoorsy stuff, and it's kind of cool.
Dude,
that's so cool. I really like it.
It's done in Marker, and there's the artist there, Adam Ambro Designs. We should maybe have him on the show. He might have some interesting stuff to share.
Yeah,
but that's sort of like his whole medium. Yeah, that's his like whole medium is taking, you know, magazine clippings, newspaper clippings of the existing, you know, it could be reviews of the car, it could be outdoor articles if it's for an off-road vehicle, then they'll take that and, you know, do Marker over it. There's a really cool 911 one there they've got.
Yeah.
Dang.
Just some cool car-related art, actually.
Yep. Big fan. Yeah, we need to have him on. But anyways, I think that'll wrap up our week. So thanks everyone for joining. Thanks for watching, and tune into our, you know, all the out of spec channels for all of our stuff. And Forrest has got Forrest Auto Reviews on TikTok, dropping videos all the time, and C40 coming soon. So we'll see what color it is. Take bets.
Please be blue.